My name's Keith. I am a sales manager for a chemicals and minerals company. I was a patient at this wonderful establishment for nearly 4 months. I have been volunteering for nearly a year. October 2018, I had a seizure out of nowhere. Literally walked into the kitchen and had a seizure, and it was a full-on seizure. Sort of came to in the back of an ambulance coming into the RBH. I was rushed up to the John Radcliffe, and Tuesday evening I came to and was told, you've got a grade 4 brain tumour. Bit of a shock, to put it mildly. And they said you can have an operation which, could prolong your life by 8-10 months, maybe even a year, but without the operation you've got 2 months. So when I was well enough, I had an awake craniotomy, which is exactly what you think it is. I was wide awake for 8 hours while they operated on my brain. A surreal experience, really, really odd. And when I say awake, I mean wide awake. I came out of that and I thought, they've just opened me up and done what I needed to do. I'm going to be in ICT afterwards. Oh no, you'll be back on the ward and we want you up the next day. The next day I was up and I had nothing more than a light headache, which I still can't quite work out. After 2 weeks, they came back to me and said, good news, the tumour that we'd seen wasn't a tumour, it was an abscess. It was about the size of a golf ball, but instead of having 8, 10, 12 months to live, I've got a lifetime to lead, which is nice. But at that point I was completely paralysed down my right hand side. I was just starting to get some movement back into the tips of my hand and odd movements in my leg. I was in a wheelchair and completely, in my view, completely unable to stand. And I got back. One of the first things they did was say, right, that's a Zimmer frame. We want you up on that. And bless them, that's where the physios really came in, because they encouraged, motivated, bullied, and I don't think it's unfair that they refer to themselves as physio-terrorists. They're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant, because they make you do things which you don't think you can, and all of a sudden you go, wow, they were right. And generally they are. They literally helped rebuild me. Now, it's not as it was, my right hand side, but I can walk and, do most of the things I used to do. I still have to clean my teeth with my left hand because I don't trust that hand enough, but, I am what I am. I spent 7 weeks in the Caversham Neuro Rehab Ward, which was my special place. And again, the physios and the team on the Caversham ward and the occupational health people just helped me rebuild my life and rebuild myself physically. And when I came out of the other end of that process, I wanted to volunteer to give something back. Initially, I was doing inpatient surveys, where you go and talk to inpatients at the bedside about the care that they've received. And then when the COVID epidemic hit, we were initially told no volunteers, but then they realised that they really did need volunteers that were security checked. So I then came back in and I have done community driving, deliveries around the hospital, including donuts and Easter eggs, which are incredibly popular. But then the main job that I've been doing is running blood and swab samples from the COVID A&E department down to pathology to save the people in the ward itself from having to go away from the ward, which saves them time and saves them stripping off PPE, etc. At the moment, I'm doing every Friday from 9 till 5, and if the volunteering manager has another job that I can fit into my work because I'm working from home, then I will come in and do some community driving. We were collecting some stuff from the garden centre the other week, which involved, an hour and a half of picking stuff up and dropping it back to the hospital. Just volunteer, please. Just go and volunteer. It's really rewarding and satisfying, and you can make a difference to people's lives in little tiny ways. Being very biased, I would recommend it to everybody, because I was somebody that before this really didn't like hospitals. I would never have been able to do what I've been doing, and I've got so much out of it. And I really do feel that from a personal position, I've helped in a small way, but I've helped. I owe the NHS so much. Can't not do it.